Daddy likes gardening. That is brilliant. So you know lots about gardening. Who doesn't like gardening? Oh. Joe, I'm with you. Okay, yeah, we're a team. High five. Okay. I'm going to tell you a story, which isn't about gardening, it's really about a farmer, but it is about growing things, okay? So, as you know, David and Wendy are in, I was going to say in hospital. David and Wendy are on holiday, okay? And Wendy's left me in charge of the garden. So, I went charging in there the other day and thought, oh, I've not watered the green, don't tell her this, I've not watered the greenhouse sort of thing, so like sudden panic. She won't watch it, we're all right. And the other thing is, her hose hates me. Every single time, she's got this posh thing that you run out, okay, and every single time I use it, the bit that's attached to the tap comes off and soaks me. Every single time, twice. Yesterday, twice. Not happy. Anyway, this is a story about Jesus. One day Jesus was teaching the people, and there were so many, he had to actually climb into a boat, okay, and everybody else sat on the shore and were listening to him. And as he spoke to them, the boat just bobbed up and down in the water quite calmly, sort of thing. And then Jesus told them a story. Now, in the Bible, stories are called parables, okay? And he said, one day there was a farmer who sowed this seed. Now, sowing, I always tend to think of, as quite carefully placing it, whereas this guy just chucked it anywhere, right? He chucked this seed all over the place. And it landed in lots of different places. Some landed on a path. What's going to happen to any seed that lands on the path? What's going to happen to any seed? And what's going to happen to any seed that lands on the path? Is it going to grow? No. In fact, it's sitting there and the birds go, woohoo, okay, and they go off and they eat the seed, okay. And so, some of the seed, okay, fell on stony ground. That's like my garden. You dig down, and I don't get pebbles and stones. I get big chunks of concrete that I have to get up. So some seeds fell on ground like that. And what happened was, it comes to the surface, they couldn't put down very many roots, and the sun would come and shrivel them up. Right? That's what I was trying to prevent happening in Wendy's garden. I didn't want any shrivelling going on. There'd be quite a lot of slug activity, but that's not my department. Some fell on better ground. Okay, but there was already lots of thorns and weeds, and they just got choked out. All right, they couldn't grow very well. But some fell on good soil, and it grew and grew, and a great harvest came, and they could cut down the wheat and whatever it was they sowed, and they could eat it, and they'd have things to eat for the next year. So that was the parable about seeds. Stony, rocky, path, good soil. Later on in the day, the disciples were on their own with Jesus, and they asked him about the story because they didn't really understand it. Now, all the way through the Bible, when there's a parable, usually there's a bit afterwards going, the disciples needed explaining because they didn't understand. So if you read the Bible and you don't understand it, don't worry, you're in very good company. Disciples often didn't know what was going on either. And so they wanted to understand what it really meant. And so he said, the seed is the word of God. When a person believes something God says, it gets planted into their hearts. Words like, God is love, God forgives, God saves, God heals, God protects. Some people said, Jesus, hear the word of God but do not understand it. It's just like the birds who stole the seed. The devil comes and steals the word of God from their heart before it can be planted. And some people believe the word, but they just get really busy with their friends, with their families, with all the stuff that's going on in their life, with their Netflix. Sorry, that means Netflix. Okay? And it just stops them believing in the word of God, and it gets in the way, and it gets choked by thorns and weeds. And some people understand, believe the word of God, plant it in their hands, and even when they're made fun of, they don't forget it. They let it grow there. And and they love to tell other people. So it's about being fertile soil for the Word of God, and then it will grow.